Hey, great. Good morning, everybody. So good to be here. I'm completely pumped after an amazing couple of weeks training. I've been in some amazing programs, training myself up, learning from other coaches. And yeah, last night had an incredible training. I'll tell you a bit more about. As always, thanks for being here with me this morning live. And if you're catching the replay, just comment #replay. That's great for me to just see who's paying attention, who's tuning in, who's not. And also any value you take from this morning's video, please do post it in the chat. It really amplifies your own takeaways and helps signpost other people to come and listen to it. So it's an act of generosity to the community, this amazing community we've built here, the Young Fire Parent community. Every week I feel so grateful for it, to be here myself. So yeah, in that way, with your comments, your energy in doing that. Energy is everything and everything is energy. This is a line I learned from a recent teacher that I've been hanging out with, had the great blessing to hang out with, Mike Gugliaro. I'm going to be speaking fluent Mike Gugliaro because I was with him till midnight or beyond last night. He's in America. He's giving a great training called Mind Control last night, which is phenomenal. And yeah, this morning I wanted to talk about the power of language. Obviously, I'm a parent coach and a team coach, primarily a team coach, also running parent community alongside working with teenagers in teen community. So I wanted to talk about the power of language this morning as part of the communication module in the training, in the program that I run. So it's part of the Pearl framework. Yeah, and really, it's something that's become, one of the other great blessings about being a coach is that I'm constantly implementing new things for myself and then teaching them to my students, whether they're parents or teens. So I'm forever being a product of my own product. I'm in training, so it's a great honor to have that constant flow of training myself up and looking at all areas of life, looking at where I'm limiting myself, where I can empower myself and my own parenting and my own coaching further. So it's an endlessly enriching loop. So that's awesome. Yeah, language, self-talk. Goodness me, if you don't have an awareness of self-talk, this is so, to use the most faddish phrase of the moment, so science-based. But, it's good that it's science-based. I've always been a bit cynical about that. But, it's great that it is. It's backed by science. Self-talk, negative self-talk, our internal monologue or our thoughts, our word, and our thoughts become our words and that they become our deeds. And so, language that we speak out to our children, language that we speak to ourselves, and even just thoughts that we have to ourselves and thoughts we have to our children are immensely powerful, and they end up in our actions. They end up fulfilling, they end up creating our futures. So I didn't know that. I've not known that for most of my life. So that's been totally game-changing for me to really get to really grok that and to action it, and to be living that every day now. So yeah, that's super exciting. Yeah, the Pearl framework from the training, I'm just going to give one piece of that. The empower element is praise, empower, ask, reassure, and listen. And this is just a way of empowering communication. It's from the communication module, like I say. Praise is a huge banana skin, can go either way. So that's a big topic in and of itself. What praise actually encourages and what works well, and what's actually toxic to our children's motivation and self-esteem. Praise really could go both ways. So that's one thing that we look at. Empower, I'm going to do today. So it's about empowering speech and self-talk and mind, speech, body. Asking, I've talked about asking many times here, just asking, shifting from telling and knowing to our teens to asking them, ask them, like, what do you think? And asking them, do you want any advice? Asking permission in some ways to give advice, to give suggestions, to share our own solutions, to share our own experience before we bother to do it. Because as we all know, wow, teens can just completely like, la, 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 they just completely tune out, ignore us. You can see them back in their phones. They're not listening anymore. Ask them. So yeah, that's the third part. Reassuring is just to do with atmosphere and safety, acceptance and belonging. But yeah, I'm not talking about any of this today. This is just the framework for you. And listening is just such a key skill with teenagers. This is one of the main things I do with the teens I work with, is just listen to them, hear them, validate them in that way. in a safe and confidential space. So yeah, but today, empowering mind, speech, and body. So yeah, in our minds, and you'll have heard me say this before if you've been here long enough, hold your children in the highest regard. Hold your children no matter what, how they're showing up, how they are, hold them in the highest regard, honor them completely, and listen to them. Listen to what they have to say, however ridiculous or provocative it might be. You know, be aware of managing that internal narrative, the self-talk I was talking about, and the monologue that you have going on around them, the labeling you have going on around them, how they are, how it's going with them, who they are. And yeah, as Mike would say, you know, sometimes we've got to kill one thought to create another. You know, a negative, limiting, disempowering thought about your child, just scrap it and create another meaning for that thought. That would be a huge takeaway from today. I'd love to hear what you think of that. When something negative or limiting comes up, just first of all be aware of it, and then yeah, kill it. It sounds ridiculous. It would have sounded ridiculous to me 5 years ago, 10 years ago, but you know, not anymore. Not since I've really started practicing this. So you know, manifesting in terms of like what we create in the future. Another incredible line from Mike last night was in terms of manifesting, you know, sometimes we think, oh, some people, you know, that's a totally woo-woo word. It might be like, oh, manifesting, that's not my bag. Cool, totally, that's fine, that's fair enough. You know, if you are into that, you might think it happens kind of once in a while, you can try and manifest one thing. No, we're in a constant state of manifesting. We are forever manifesting. We're always in a state of either creating or destroying. So yeah, great to be very aware of that in our minds, how creative we're being, and how destructive we could be. So yeah, just to kill off the negative and destructive thoughts and create another. Second part of this empowering framework, so we've done mind, is speech. So speech and language, yeah, with our children, again, you may have heard me say this before, but you know, I don't care. It's great that the more times you hear it, I think the better. The more times I say it, I know it empowers me in my coaching and my parenting. But yeah, not gossiping about our children, not bad-mouthing them, even to our partners, even to our husbands, wives, and certainly to our friends as well. That is no kind of support. That's no kind of support for them or for us. Venting like that, you know, it's fine to share our problems, of course, but in an empowering way, you know, create a positive meaning around that. And for our children, yeah, we have to overcome any tendency we have to overtly engage in mockery or blame or criticism, even teasing. Just use your own discernment around your own teasing in the household. You know, because when we speak about our children like that directly to them or even without them being there, you know, it's part of our energy when they're not there. It's part of our energy. It's part of our relationship with our children. Our relationship isn't just when we're speaking with them. It's all the time. Everything we think, say, and do is our relationship with our children forever. So, you know, living, dead, doesn't matter. We're in a relationship with people that we've known forever. So, you know, we have to be careful with our children. This is one specific point I wanted to make, not to limit their destiny, not to limit them and who they are and who they are becoming. So, you know, sometimes if we get into teasing especially, or just labeling our children, it might, you know, and that can be very connecting, but just, yeah, use your own judgment as to whether it is connecting or whether it's severely limiting, to be speaking about our children in a particular way, you know, calling out like they're like this, they're like that, you know, in a dinner party situation, you're talking about your children, they're like this, they love this, they are this, you know, be careful of that, because they may not be. They may not be that, they may not want to be that. And we may just like force them into this kind of tunnel, which they really don't want to be in. We want our children to be completely flexible and able to be whoever they want to be. So many of the kids I work with have these labels. I'm not a morning person, that kind of thing, you know, like, oh no, I'm maths, I hate maths, I'm rubbish at maths, whatever it might be. You know, that's totally self-fulfilling. And I've also worked with teens where they suddenly have become a morning person. They're like, whoa, holy shit, all my life I thought I'm not a morning person. Actually, you know, it's to do with going to bed earlier or something, whatever it is, to do with having a good routine. Yeah, none of that stuff exists. And I hope you've experienced this in your own experience. that a label like that suddenly can be like, no, I'm 100%, wow, I'm a 5 a.m. person. You know, that's what I've been becoming. Used to be a musician and not a morning person. Now I'm more like, whoa, give me the early morning. Yeah, I love it. You know, but it's to do with going to bed at 9 p.m. Something I often share with the teens who think they're not morning people. That it's to do with going to bed early. And of course, that's a choice that may not suit their lifestyle, but that's how you do it. So yeah, you know, the power of our language in how we're speaking about our children really runs throughout everything. How we speak to our friends, how we speak to our partner, husband, certainly how we speak to them, and even just how we think about them. So that's my encouragement of you in terms of language, because it's outward and inward. You know, so many people I know putting themselves down and obviously putting their children down as well. So we have to be very, very careful about that, and educate your children as well in this. The power of words, the power of their own negative self-talk. You know, that's a huge part of the program for the teens. So yeah, if you have some experience with that, or you start to experiment with that, or share that with them, because it's huge. Yeah, for your children to know the power of their own words about themselves and the power of their words in general. Final part, body. Empowering your body is really to do with just like I was on a training with the parent community that I'm running last night or Tuesday night. And yeah, one thing that really stood out was eye rolling, you know, just talking about eye rolling, no eye rolling with our teens, that kind of way of, when you catch yourself doing that, you know, with all love and respect, like, you know, it's not to feel bad about yourself coming to these kind of lives or listening to them, but, you know, eye rolling, watch out for eye rolling, because that is a message, a communication, but also it's just, even if no one sees it, it's a vibe. It's energy. It's a framing. It's a labeling. It's a limiting. It's a disrespect of what your teen is saying or how they are, who they are. And of course, you know, we can see all kinds of colorful behavior in the teenage years. So, but you know, watch out for eye rolling, body language. You know, your body language in general. You know, crossed arms, the kind of defensive, closed off. I'm not open to you. I'm not listening to you. Obviously any more overtly kind of aggressive behavior like door slamming or, you know, shouting, stomping around the place, you know, like we've got to really watch out for how we communicate and how we empower our children in relation to how we're using our body. All right, great, everyone. I've been much longer than I thought I was going to be. I'm trying to do like 5-minute like bite-sized videos, but I'm not very good at it. Hope that was helpful. Please do put in the comments, something in the comments, give me at least a reaction. And yeah, put down in writing what your takeaway was, what your key takeaway was. That is energy for you to consolidate your own learning and progress going forward as a parent, and also a gift to everybody else in the community. All right, lots of love, everyone. See you soon.